In this video, I'm going to summarize the trades that I made during the month of February, and hopefully it'll give you an idea in terms of what you could expect to receive in terms of trading signals throughout the month by way of the messenger. So I'm going to go through here, give you an idea on this is using the OEX. We trade both the OEX and the S&P 500, but this video concerns the OEX, and I often get asked about results, and so this is a way in which I could answer the question in terms of what are the results by participating with using one contract, using one option contract at a time. And I really do not want to post my trades and list them in statement form. And the reason for that is because I've been working at this for so long, nearly over 30 years, most of my adult life. And I just didn't want to set my work out there for easy replication. I wanted to give enough information out to where you could qualify your interest, but still safeguard my approach. And it has taken a lot of work to get up into this point, and it is valuable. So anyway, let's begin earlier in the month. And weekly options as well as the monthly expirations make up how I trade the OEX and the S&P 500 now. The weeklies are a wonderful vehicle. I've been studying them now for a couple of years. I've been trading them for the last 6 months. Now they're super good. And the reason is because you can initiate a position with very little money, between $200 and $500. You can be in a position with the weekly options, and the duration occurs for maybe a day or two at the most. Take that money and invest it in a longer term option, which is basically what I try to do in here when the chart says so. So let's just very quickly go through. And again, this is the same chart that I send out by way of a video presentation each morning as a part of the subscription. These are the areas of support and resistance that we look for, highlighted in blue for support, red for resistance. And as the formations unfold on the intraday, looking at both the S&P 500 and the S&P futures, I look for these areas to be confirmed, and then I place option positions, and that's when I send out the messenger alert by way of Yahoo. So here's where we initiated weekly call option positions with the idea of running it up to this area of resistance. And got up in here, got a sell signal on the intraday where we took the calls off, and since we were here at resistance, I initiated put positions on the weeklies. Again, calls in the puts, they sell for $200 to $500 or so, and so without a whole lot of money and risk, we're able to initiate positions and capture the profits very, very quickly within these limits of support and resistance. Got back in here to support, took the position off, was actually looking to get all the way back down in here to initiate another call, and we didn't quite get there. Market turned around very quickly and went back up into here to resistance, where I put the puts on again on the weekly basis. Again, we're trading a bit of a channel in here, so I'm looking for just 1 or 2 days of action to reach the support areas and trade between the support and resistance. Works out very, very nicely using the weeklies and without investing a whole lot of money. Now, here when we get down into the support again, we have a reverse head and shoulders type pattern. Very classical, very powerful. And this is where I can take the profits from this channel and initiate a long call position both on the weekly and the monthly as well. And that's when we start to put the two together. One finances the other. So using this as an example, closed out this put coming down, initiated a weekly call position with the idea that if we got back up into this area of resistance, we would take that off and then hold on for perhaps more of a move to the upside, a break to the upside. And that's what I was trading in here. With this bottom formation in here, this reverse head and shoulders type of formation, was looking for a push through it. Took a few days, took several sessions, but we did kind of go sideways here and then finally made our push up in here to 690 on the OEX. This is the same area that was making so many headlines with the S&P 500. This is basically the $1,530 area on the S&P 500, all-time highs and such like that. So we meandered here for a few trading sessions and then finally went up. this ellipse here is showing the support that I was looking for. So I was looking for the possibility of coming back down into this support area and then perhaps going up here. If we did that, then I would initiate more weekly calls here, but we never really did. So we just stayed with the monthly calls, and that's how we were able to generate a profit, not only from just getting back up into this area of resistance, but also pushing up a little bit higher. So this participation within this channel financed the risk of pushing further to the upside. Now I want to keep this video relatively short, but you can see the same kind of theme without me going through all these, and you can just continue to look through these, and it's pretty much self-explanatory as to what I did. But once we got up in here to resistance, I took the monthly calls off, took that profit, put it in the bank, which is a nice sizable profit, coming back in here from 676 back up in here to 690. That was a beautiful run in here. And then initiated not only weeklies, but both monthly puts as well. The short-term support, which is what I talk about on the daily video, this was the initial support area that I would expect, at least for this market, to return to. Now, it could go up from here, but we would at least get down into this area, which is where I exited the weekly put positions, and then let that profit in here finance further participation. So if we did drop down to the next area of support, this getting back down into here, the 678 area, which represents this oval, and in here, then I would take off the monthly put positions. But this initial kickback in here, very consistent, relatively conservative. At least expect to see that come back up into this range. The profit from that occurrence finances further participation. And so as you go along here, it's the same theme as we continue onward here. So once I got back down into this area, I took the monthlies off, closed those, put those in our pocket, and then waited for a reaction. And in fact, I initiated weekly calls in here with the idea that we would at least get back up into this area, and I exited off those weekly calls. So as we continue on here, you can see the same kind of theme, how we use the shorter term time frame charts on the weeklies to finance the participation on the monthly calls and the puts. Okay, so once we got back down into this area, lots of support in here, bottom of the range, took off the puts, put weekly calls on, which I took off here, and then also put on some monthly calls to see if we could come back all the way up into this area of resistance, in which we did, and we were blessed and rewarded very nicely in that. Once we got up into this area, it was confirmed on the intraday chart, in which I initiated a weekly put, came back down in here to support, which we had on our screens and talked about each morning, and then took those off. So when it's trading in the range like this, and you use a combination of both the weeklies and the monthlies, the profits were really quite good for the amount of risk that we took, and that's what I try to present and demonstrate. And so there are two things with this: participate in a very volatile market with the least amount of risk as possible. And so using a combination of both the weeklies and the monthlies, I have been able to do that very nicely. And so if you go to the website and you want to subscribe to the service, what you can expect to get is this. Basically this chart, in which we'll highlight both the support and resistance areas. And then during the course of the day, you'll get that each morning with my commentary. And then during the course of the day, as these areas unfold on the intraday basis, that's when I'll send out the messenger alert that says, hey, we're going to do this, or we're going to take this action, what the targets are, so we know exactly where we are and where we're going for both the entry and the exit, what the stops are going to be. And those messenger alerts are sent out in real time. Then when the next day unfolds, we evaluate where we are. We send out another video showing the new areas of resistance and support, and how we adjusted our account and what decisions we're going to make when we come into those areas. So it is an ongoing subscription where you get both a daily video and the intraday trading alerts at these areas that we plan for in just the same way.